Well, night 31, we made it past a month. And look what we're having here. A delicious Bloody Mary. Because I woke up, I don't know what time it is. I'm not even really sure what day it is. And I have a Greek pepper, a little prosciutto, and celery. This is Idaho vodka, potato vodka. It's called Born and Bred. And I like to use the Charleston Bloody Mary mix, hot and spicy. Nothing more boring than a non-spicy Bloody Mary, in my opinion. That's why I don't usually drink them on airplanes. I can't make them spicy. It's just like tomato juice with, if you get the spicy stuff. And then I take celery salt, like a good Irish person, and dump it right in the glass. It's supposed to be on the edge. What good is that? I'm just going to lick it off later? No, just throw it right in. I'm sure it's really heart healthy. Okay, let's move on. Things are really starting to pop up on it. It's getting good. They're getting hooked up with this Billy Sherrill person who's a genius, apparently. A little off kilter on the social end. He's a little odd. They didn't know how to say that back then. Just an odd guy. Dolores was pitching me to Billy Sherrill when he was without question the hottest producer in Nashville, working with stars like Tammy Wynette and Charlie Rich. He had no time to fool around with some kid from Henderson, Nevada. I don't even know how he'd heard the talent in the first place. As I said, I never thought those tapes were very good. They were recorded in one take since the cost factor made overdubs out of the question. In addition to the sound quality, my vibrato was not under control yet. I listen to it now and shudder, but Billy later said that the vibrato was the one thing that interested him. He said he was always amazed to find a 13-year-old kid with a vibrato faster than Kitty Wells's. Billy says he listened and liked what he heard, but he was so busy it took Al Gallico's, I don't know how I'm saying it, prodding to make him meet with me. Billy is one of those producers who may hear a voice he likes, but until he matches that voice with the right song, he doesn't get excited. As it turns out, gambling played a big part of that. Daddy may not have been able to finance me by playing Keno, but Billy and Al frequently came to Las Vegas to gamble. See how this is all coming around? Daddy's plan is just going to pan out. I feel it. I feel luck's coming. They've had a lot of hard luck, which I think is another one of her songs. Let's turn this up about. For all I know, those two might have even been in the casino when my daddy was losing our rent money. But they were high rollers who play craps in 21, a.k.a. blackjack. They wouldn't have been playing with Keno. Exactly. Every time the two of them hit Vegas, Dolores Fuller nagged at them to meet with her new find, Tanya Tucker. Billy'd say, nah, I'm here to gamble, not to listen to acts. That's good, Billy. You separate work and fun. Because I feel the same way. If I'm gambling, I'm not funny. I am gambling. Oh, FedEx is out there. Maybe Lou sent me some more socks. That'd be fun. They wouldn't have been playing Keno. Every time the two of them hit Vegas, finally, several months after she'd sent the tapes, the two were on another gambling junket, and Dolores was bugging them about me. Al says he turned to Billy and said, come on, Billy. Dolores is a nice gal and a friend. Let's talk to her. They went over to Dolores' home, and after Billy listened to the tape again, he told Dolores to bring me to the Riviera that day. She's 13. I didn't think you could get in a casino, but I guess there's a back entrance. Dolores called Dad and told him to get me dressed up because at long last, Billy Sherrill had asked to meet me. Billy remembers just being stunned when he saw me walk up to the booth in the coffee shop of the Riviera. Even though Dolores had mentioned my age in passing, he was not prepared for a kid to walk in. The face and the voice just didn't match up. It's probably lucky that Dolores had downplayed my age because Billy later told me he was a little like W.C. Fields when it came to kids and dogs. I guess W.C. Fields did not like either. Though, how can you not like kids and dogs? Like, those are the two best things. Little kids, not teenagers. Of course, you ought to see him dote over his new granddaughter now. At his office, he had a framed picture of his Himalayan cat on my desk. Billy took one look at me, shook his head in disbelief, and said, is this really your voice on those tapes? You want me to sing something, I asked? She gonna throw it right down in that cafeteria in the Riviera. I'll tell you, you eat your eggs and listen to this shit. That's right. I can do it. He smiled and shot a sly look at Al Gallico. No, I guess the next time I'll be hearing you sing is in a studio in Nashville. This first meeting with Billy Sherrill almost ended up as crazy as our trip to Costa's wedding. Bobby Vinton was playing at the Riviera then, and he was sitting with Billy and Al. Bobby did something so outlandish, I still can't believe it. Billy introduced me to him, and of course I wanted his autograph. I pushed a napkin across the table, and he wrote, "To Tanya Tucker, no sex, Bobby Vinton." Why would you write that to a 13-year-old? Maybe he thought it was funny to acknowledge that I was a kid. I don't know, but my dad didn't think it was a bit funny. And when he started to turn red, and I think we all have learned from this book what happens when Daddy starts to turn red. There's going to be tables flying, chairs flying, and possibly a trip to a truck to fetch a gun. That's what happens. I guess we were in for another fight. Back then, I never knew what to expect from my dad. I still don't when you get right down to it. He says the only thing that stopped him from decking Bobby Vinton was the knowledge that Billy Sherrill had the power to sign me to Columbia Records. Finally, Billy turned to Dolores and said, "Okay, who's going to write a hit song for Tanya Tucker, you or me?" Dolores said she'd go to Los Angeles and she'd come back with a monster, and that was the last we heard from her for several months. What we couldn't know was that she was writing songs and sending them to Billy, and he was turning them all down. He said they were all either too slick or too juvenile. Once again, we waited. But by this time, when we waited, we'd had a signed contract. Dad and Dolores negotiated it, and we didn't get any upfront money from Columbia. But Dad did insist on 3 instead of a 5-year contract. I don't think Billy cared much one way or the other, and he wanted to see if we had a radio hit. Otherwise, I was finished anyway. But Dad believed I could be successful, and he thought he could get some front money when he came to the table in 3 more years. Well, I think let's go another paragraph. I have Bette Midler, where's that coming from? To thank for the song that became my first hit record, because Billy happened to be watching Johnny Carson one night and heard her sing Delta Dawn. Remember those show business myths? That tale about Delta Dawn is that Billy immediately thought it was a hit for me? That is not the real story. Clearly. Billy had never heard of Bette Midler before, but he loved her voice and he wanted to sign her to a recording contract. He called Al Gallico in New York and asked him to track her down. Bette had just signed with Jerry Wexler at Atlantic Records. And when Al called Billy back and told him so, Billy said, "Well, let's find that song, Delta Dawn, and I'm going to cut it with that little girl from Nevada." Well, I think that is a fine place to stop, because finally there's a little light in their lives. A little turn in the luck, if you will. A little happiness. Somebody's finally got on page that Tanya can sing. Bobby Vinton told her don't have sex. Daddy did not shoot him. I mean, things are going well. Things are heading in the right direction. No one's thrown a chair in a chapter. Progress. Gotta take it where you can get it. Okay. I don't really have any other news to report. Lewis told me to watch a thing. Now I can't remember the Sneaky Pete. Anybody watch that? Is it good? Should I start it? Am I going to regret it if I start it? And that's it. So I think we're going to sign it off in the words of my friend Ron White. Night, night, termites.